Welcome back, beautiful soul family. This is part 2 to this reading. All right, so if you can go back and watch part 1 or watch this one, go back, whatever you feel guided to do. All right, trust your intuition. This is no stress. This is the journey of our existence. We go through quite a few cycles. So this is an awakening. This is the current awakening. I'm very guided towards the number 3. Number 3 does represent the cycles, beginning and end, the balance in between, the harmony that brings it all together. So the Black Egg is a spirit card. So this is in the position that is currently in your energy field and is with perception. All right, so you've been awoken to a new perception. It's speaking your truth. The Black Egg is where truth resides. So there is a sudden shift in perception. I feel like things you didn't see before. It's almost like stopping to smell the rose. And if you didn't do that, you wouldn't have noticed a beautiful bee on the rose. And that bee symbolizes nourishment, honey, which is sweet. It's also community, working together for a cause, a better cause. And you can see that this card, there is a gem. All right, so the treasure, another angle, a view that really unlocks a treasure. So in this unspoken truth, it really rested in a place where it is no longer able to be kept inside. What resides in this egg is now, it feels, oh my gosh, it almost looks like a honeycomb. Now that I see that, it's quite interesting. You look at the card, right? So it's almost like, I feel like this is the perception of looking through many windows of almost like these viewpoints of what has really brought you to a place that you recognize things you didn't recognize before. And it's almost like things are brighter, more vivid. The smells are enhanced. Everything is just enhanced. And it brings out this freeing, liberating energy. You're walking to a frequency. It's like your own beat. It's almost like you're lighter. And I feel like this frequency is what really allows you to see not what was locked away, not what was closed off, almost like in a bird cage, right? Looking like it is barred up, but actually the nourishment of all of these windows of different perceptions. So it's all these different viewpoints. And I feel like discovering this treasure that really grows a new point of view, and it really brings you to your truth. Like it accelerates and enhances. So truth with a view. All right. Seeing isn't always believing. The Black Egg is the voice of authenticity. Right? It's your authentic truth. Not everybody's truth is necessarily the same. It depends what was trying to be exposed to you. This truth was trying to break through something, break through some kind of narrative, break through a very one-sided angle of only seeing things really that are with your eyesight, but there is way more around, like your intuition. You see the most actually in the dark. It's almost like our eyes can kind of trick us, right? Because if you're not looking for something, it's almost like you will pass it, because a treasure isn't always what we think. It's not always a gem. It's not always like something valuable, but it's the value in a perception. It's the seeing the value in a perception that really unlocks so many different possibilities. So this energy holds life's treasure, the truth. It's an essential, this is life's essential treasure. So no more confusion, excuses, small talk, noise, or lies. All right, and in the position that is underneath the surface, so this is in the subconscious. This is awakening from a slumber. So this could be in what is the cause, the root. Oh, it's like you've woken from the slumber, and the bear's looking for the honeycomb. It's quite interesting. It's hungry for. It's like your hunger is, once you had a taste of seeing life in a different angle. It's not like it's not like you're living on a stage. You're not living life on a stage. You're not just living to be. This is taking life into your own hands, really customizing your experience. And the more you are open to what is possible to be real, it's like growth is all around you. Truth grows where you open your mind to what life has to show you. It's like you're not limited. You're in this believer state. You're in a very creative place. It's like taking time to really listen to the birds. Not always rushing through life and missing the point. All right, so this essence, when in balance, can draw in questions of concepts no longer accepting to be true. If something feels unsure, don't try to convince yourself or justify what others want to hear. Yeah, so that's like waking up from a slumber of almost being like living the reality that was made for us, right? Where it was designed for everybody to believe the same thing and not see those treasures that really awaken the magic within life. And once that awakens, it's like the veil can't hide what is within that shadow, because the shadow does hold truth. In the darkness, it's healing. It's facing. It's almost like facing your spiritual journey and going on this quest that only you can take. So that is where everybody's perception may be a little bit different, because each life lessons are all different. So your perception of what is valuable and what is the hidden treasure. All right, so try not to justify always what others want to hear, gossip, or repeat stories. Again, this is where your own journey is not the lessons other people's learned. All right, that's really going to push back where you are, and almost like dismantling what you're seeing, right? And it's not allowing yourself to believe something that is outside the box. So I feel like this is, yeah, when you stop trying to convince yourself that this is all life has to offer, and it feels like very, very day to day, that's when this journey comes in, where you must go off on the journey, and it brings in truth. It brings in elements of healing. And when you heal things about yourself and about the world, I find it's much easier to accept, and it almost becomes the way you walk, the way you walk, the way you talk. It's all in truth, and it almost becomes a little bit of your swag. So it always feels uncomfortable at first, because sometimes going against the most popular, point of view, it can cause you to second guess yourself, almost be in two heads, but don't allow that to change what your instincts are actually waking up and trying to tell you. So the bear wakes up from the cave. The cave is dark, in his sleep, and this is that awareness that it all comes back to one, right? It all comes back to, this is like consciousness, the collective consciousness, that there's a place for everybody's truth. Doesn't mean that all truths have to be the same. That's the authentic truth to oneself. So this is the time to take your voice back. It is your authentic key that reconnects you to this living, breathing vessel that is within us all. The living, breathing vessel that's within us all, right? And it's like all of the lessons, all of our own stories that we live through, all have a place, and it all kind of comes together. We all kind of fill in each other's blanks, right? We don't all have the same challenges. So when truth is spoken, it teaches, not judges. Let the black egg be many windows. Again, with the windows, if you look close, you see all those. So it's almost like taking closer looks at things. Don't, it's almost like not doing your own research, your own, including your own thoughts, ideas. Information is meant to not just be passed down, because if it's information that is not correct, it's always good to tap into what your own experiences are showing you. I feel like your instincts isn't being very quiet right now. I feel like it's like a bear, it's almost like it's staring you right in the face. It's no longer to be avoided. So the many windows of truth, not to expose, but to lift the shade of fear. Fear, guilt, or shame. To hold on to the image or persona of what we convince ourselves is to remain in the cage, locked away, is to remain locked away in the cage along with the lie. It's almost like freeing yourself from the lie, almost like detaches yourself. Yeah, because I feel like this is like different timelines. When you follow truth, it's a completely different timeline. And those who do not want to be awoke, they will stay in the comfortable the comfortable sleep stage, all right? So no longer fooling oneself with concepts and stories to justify our subpar behavior. Maybe not having any inner truth at all. Remember, at every moment in any situation, that your voice is the epicenter of truth, awakening to new concepts, and ideas, visions, opening the door to possibilities. I'm just going to grab my other cards. I'm not even sure where I put them. Okay, that could be a sign. All right, so we're not going to pull the tarot in this one because I don't know where my cards are. Interesting. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull one of my favorite archetypes decks. All right. And we're going to really bring all this together, all right? Because this is going to show us what you're really going through, what all this really represents. Let's bring forth what the awakening, the truth, the value, the cost, what is essential. And I feel like this reminds me of Virgo energy, where it's like being resourceful. It's like you're learning to be resourceful, where it's like it's not just seeing one aspect of something, but understanding that a bird is just a bird. Birds actually are also messengers. So I feel like this is going outside the box and allowing your curiosity to be wild and free. All right. This must be the first. So missing hidden gems along the way. Opening the door to possibilities must mean that you're no longer sleeping through life. Missing the hidden gems along the way. This must be first accepted that not all is seen with our eyes. And you can see she's not really looking at the gem. She's kind of looking over at this egg, distracted by the egg. Trying to get to, it's like missing the steps, right? Trying to get to trying to figure things out, trying to get right to the finish line, almost like jumping to conclusions instead of following the steps. Because there's always something to learn and grow. We're never done learning. There could be another aspect that could evolve and change. Something that you're meant to see on this journey. And I feel like with the moon here, it's like when the smoke, you can see that the smoke, like the cloud, the fog. The fog is hiding the moon, and the moon represents, can be illusions, but it also represents something that is needed to be seen. It's illuminating something, and it's can't quite see. It's almost like it's right behind the veil of fog. So it's like along the way, it's not about just fine. It's almost like the moon is hidden from the wolf. And it's not just about finding the moon. It's about getting lost on the journey. It's about being lost, and that is where you pick up valuable lessons. You talk to the birds. You know, you go off of the regular path, and it's exploring a completely different it's exploring different contexts, exploring and almost being captivated by truth. And I feel like it's the concept of what, right when you think you know what you're looking for and exactly what you're being shown, that is when you'll find yourself in a place that completely breaks apart that way of thinking. Right when you think you figure everything out, life throws you through another, it's almost like going through Alice in Wonderland, right? Or nothing really seems ordinary. All right, so we're going to shuffle these cards. Let's see what's going to come out. There is a lot of astrology going on. I'm going to do another video for that one. I think I'm going to include whatever card comes out for the collective. All right, so message for the collective for 2026. Messages for the collective for 2026. This is all about a little sneak peek on what is going on in the astrology and what's going on with the planets and all that. Ooh, the unseen. I love that. The unseen parts of the self that have remained unseen. The cave. Wow. Like, could that be any more perfect with the bear? And it is in the unseen. It's on the bottom of the deck. So this represents the cause. The cave was limiting what you were able to see. Sleeping for a time period until it was time to wake up and see the world around you. And it's almost like everything's changed so much. And I think a bear does sleep for 3 months. And I'm getting the number 3. Like, this could have been 3 years ago. You've had a big shift where maybe you don't even feel like you know the person that you were. And I feel like that's coming all together, is all of everything that has made you who you are, good and the bad. It all represents a truth, a bare truth. Okay, so, all right. The unseen. The unseen. You can see that this is kind of a little foggy. And the self. Getting to know yourself, right? It's like witnessing yourself for the first time. Seeing the world from the unseen. Once you see the world for what it is, you kind of see it for the destructive, everything that kind of almost blinds us from who we really are. I feel like it really shapes the reality. And what this is all about is all the pieces that really formed your journey, and all of the different processes, all the different challenges, changes. It wasn't about the outside world. It was just what it was trying to show you about yourself. Because it really all comes back to to a deeper understanding of who you are. We all hold our own pearl, and it's kept away, unseen, until you can really unplug from the world, the reality that shapes your inner world. And coming to a bare truth that anything that you learn about yourself isn't something that it's going to be a group. It's not going to be like a collective thought. Like it's not going to, that's why we all have to go off on our own journey to see life for your own eyes, the rawness. And I feel like it really unmasked that any kind of confusion that the veil likes to put a deception on. Always having, it's almost like always having so many different opinions around, being told what things are and being told things before you can discover it for yourself. It can really almost, it can confuse you. It can really become a part of how you see the world, how you see yourself. And that's that veil of deception. So it's awakening from the confusion. It's awakening from the world that you thought once was. Awakening from the world that once was familiar. It feels like it was lacking joy. It was lacking purpose. So I feel like there was some kind of a disruption that caused some isolation. It caused a deep reflection to break down a lot of questions, break down a lot of hard truths. Truths can be hard sometimes to swallow. And I feel like that's why a lot of people prefer to just stay in their sleep state. It's until you can no longer ignore the truth. It's denying yourself. So staying back in the shadow, it's like almost like you allow yourself to just be all of the different concepts, your job title, everything that really gets placed. But in the unseen is who you truly are, the things that people don't see about you. Those are the truths that really treasure, that are meant to treasure, because these are things that you can't just, there's no cheat code, there's no cheat test to where the treasure resides, because it's not simple like that. The truth resides when you go off into the journey. Goes off into the journey, not know what you're looking for. And I feel like that's where the shadow, right? I feel like you're still not sure, who am I? It's because you haven't seen yourself. You're not seeing yourself in the way that you're meant to. In the way that you're meant to, really almost like You're not just like everybody else. You're not just another person that is, you know, it's like we're all just the same. We're all the same type of people. We all have the same journey. We're all at the same outcome. But that's not true. That is that sleep state. And it can really hold you back from the best parts of life. All right. So the self. I know that reminds me of a Taurus card. I'm thinking of Taurus. All right, we have the unseen. All right. Discovering things. It's almost like, well, who we thought we were, who you thought you were, is completely told to. It's like almost like you're told by other people who you are, and you get all of these labels put on you, right? We all do. Yet it has nothing to do with the soul. This is all about feeding your soul. Feeding your soul unlimited possibilities, no restrictions. It's almost like you're meant to wander into the forest. If you feel that resistance, it's that shadow. It's almost like calling you back. But that shadow held you back. It wasn't who you were. It was that person, the ego almost, that wants to be like, that needs to be like, is feeding the ego instead of feeding yourself the truth. Because I feel like it doesn't feel necessarily amazing right at first. It really has to shatter reality and everything that you believed or you were told. So the unseen is the spirit, the ancestor, the eternal. Oh my gosh, I love that. That is beautiful. So the unseen is just as it sounds. We cannot see it, yet it sees us, watching and waiting with wisdom, both kind and instructive. We feel this presence, sense it, and then doubt its existence. Oh my gosh, right? Yeah. Not really it's like you're doubting. And again, that's that perception of the jewel. It resides within you. Everything that you look for in the outside world, everything that you look for to find happiness, you know, it's like buying clothes, it only feels good for a while. Buying nice jewelry, it only feels good for a little while. And where the potential, it's always been within you. So when you doubt the existence, it takes quite a bit to really convince ourselves otherwise, because so many years, so many decades, it's almost like it's ripping you from reality, right? And it does feel uncomfortable. And it feels like disconnected from those you always felt connected with, people that you have things in common with. But again, those are labels. So it's like we doubt the existence, though it rallies our attention time and time again. The energy of the unseen may come in many forms: a compelling dream, a sudden insight, a clear voice, a vision, a message from a loved one who has passed. All right, so again, that's where this truth is. It comes within a place where it's like you didn't expect it. You can't necessarily, I just put my truth, it's like you don't just hold on to the best things that we find in life, the best things, that the wisdom, the knowledge, aren't necessarily something that we can put in a box and save for later. They're the things you can't actually hold on to. They're not material. So, a message from a loved one's passed on the other side. And again, there's birds with messages. Birds and the butterflies, transformation. It's like transforming your ideology. That when then loved ones pass away, they don't actually necessarily leave us. It's just a different form. It is natural to fear these communications as they challenge our perception of what is real, right? Yeah. Or you don't even know where you're looking for because it's like you don't feel like you know what's real anymore. And it can feel very, it can feel like it doesn't feel necessarily good. It feels like when everything we know tends to shatter our reality, it feels like, it just feels like you don't know where to go next. It almost makes you feel more lost. But that is putting you on the path of, you almost have to get lost. Because all of the stage reality we live in is meant to take your attention away. It's almost like a distraction. So this is calling your attention. It's all these different ideas, all these different, a voice, a vision. It's all poking through. When this card appears, your guides are near. The eternal is present. The doorway between worlds is ajar. Wow, and look, she's coming out through the door. And it's almost like, again, being in a house, being in a cave, being in a room, and then it's like when you go outside, it's a completely different world that you didn't even know existed beyond. So a perception of what you see, this is not all, it is not all what you see is not everything. There is, but it's almost like you have to allow yourself, you have to want to see it. When you doubt it, you kind of go back into that cave. And it's always present. It's eternal present. So even if it passes, it's going to come back. And the more you fear it, the more the fear comes out to show you. It's almost like playing, almost like it wants to, what you think you fear wants to come out and play with you, like Alice in Wonderland, right? It's everything feels a little kooky, or everything, everything seems out of place. The doorway between worlds is open. So listen, the sound may seem as though they come from a distant land, but they call from your innermost chambers. So these are the whispers of wisdoms. And again, with this instinct, right? This is where you find the wisdom. You don't necessarily find wisdom in the day-to-day routine. It's taking yourself out of your comfort. And what you learn along the way. Opening the doors to the world of the seen, the unseen to the seen. I feel like it can feel like almost like a shock because it's almost having to break things down to have this breakthrough. And the world we live in it's designed to keep you distracted, almost not to question things that we should question. Being curious about everything, asking questions, wanting to know answers that make sense. If it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't have a clear answer that rings true, I feel like that's not your treasure. So I feel like you're not holding on to things that you're not, it's almost like you're not interested in the things you used to be interested in. Money, even, like, I feel like you're more curious about the world around you. That there's so much more than we can see. This is only one of the, it's almost like the more you open up your ability to think things are possible, it opens up a space that's not limited. And you can only understand things that you've actually go through. Like these types of journeys, they're very personal to yourself. So that's where I feel like when you have an awakening, and you try and, tell somebody about it, wanting them to get this vision that you are having. See, it's almost like you want them to also be in this vision, right? And join you, and let's go off and create life around us. See what life has to offer. I feel like some people are just very standoffish, right? Because if they're not ready for that, they're just waking up out of the slumber, and you're already in Wonderland, and you come back and you say all of this, the crazy things that you did, and all of this stuff that others are going to look at you like you're crazy, right? And it can be quite, that's where it can be, that's a journey of one, because people have to experience it for themselves to really deeply understand it. And you can't take the journey with you and pass it on. I feel like that's why she's not holding the gem. It's not something that you can physically hold, and it's not something that you can share. The wisdom, you can share it, but it doesn't mean that somebody's actually going to get it. Knowledge can only go as far as a person's ability to attain that information. Because if you haven't experienced it for yourself, it doesn't sound like it could be true, right? So don't let that take you off your journey, your transformation, to change. Its light is freeing. And I feel like sharing it with people that you're trying to help, or to help them along the way, and giving them that like extra information, it can challenge their journey more, and it can bring you to a place of feeling rejected, feeling like you're questioning things again. So again, your truth is your truth. All right, so really on this journey, you're really finding out things about yourself. And it's what was unseen. It's like you're now seeing now you're unseeing what, you're unseeing almost like what you were, all the beliefs that really kept your mind from evolving, from being open-minded. And it really dims the magic. Because in a cave, I mean, not necessarily a place to dance and to celebrate, right? It can be dark and gloomy. And that's part of the process as well. To go through that isolation, dark and the gloomy, and to come out, it's not necessarily, it doesn't hit you right away. You really need to experience the uncomfortable, sometimes the seen world, the raw world. It can be disappointing at first, but it's like we need all those different stages. We need all of those different, to really bring it all together and appreciate. Because everything kind of shows you an element. And individually, it may not mean much, but together, it's, you see the whole picture of, oh my gosh, how did I live before in this cave? You know, it's a process. Everything you have, it's almost like there isn't a time frame. There isn't a certain amount of time it takes. Everybody's different. And it's those uncomfortable times we actually grow the most. And that's a part of it that you're going to discover. Sometimes the road less traveled, it can have its bumps, but then it also has awareness that only comes when you experience it and you really allow the magic, and you go through those doors that are opened up for you instead of closing them and going back in the cave. And that involves stepping outside of your comfort zone, growing places that maybe is not your, growing in places that maybe it's not your comfort. It's not where you feel comfortable. You might surprise yourself. The gifts, the lessons, the things we learn about ourselves. They're not usually the things that are given to us. Like our name, even our jobs, how much you make. It's the discoveries about yourself that I feel like you've always thought as a child, these are things that you believed in, and the magic kind of went away, right? Almost like waiting for something good to happen instead of stepping out of the borders, being adventurous, coming out of the cocoon. Coming out of the cocoon always feels like everything's falling apart, right? You're in this comfortable nest feeling safe for so long. And then all of a sudden one day it rips open and you're in this completely different world where you don't feel safe. You feel like something bad is happening, but it's getting comfortable in one place doesn't mean that you can't get comfortable in the next. It's always about growing, being more innovative, creating a space that doesn't hold you back. It's almost like time to put down everything that you thought you knew and being open-minded to your own thoughts, your own intuition. Listen to how you feel. Getting back to all of the natural resources. It's cleansing, purifying, uplifted by how beautiful things are. Almost like when we get so distracted by everything going on our phones. I feel like that's where it can create a lot of, almost like create a world inside another world, you know, like it's not knowing what's real and what's not anymore. And I feel like this is where finding your own truth, when you don't know what's real and what's not, it's time to go and discover for yourself. Not go Google it, not ask your friend. Find out for yourself. Put your feet in the river. Pick a flower. Talk to the birds. If you feel a little silly, that's okay. That's okay. Those are the things in life that you can't buy. Those things are the best things in life. Don't cost a thing. And missing out on those true values of life, because it's free. Like the world has all of its natural resources and beauty, and nature also holds medicine. It heals. It speaks to us. There's downloads. You connect with the trees, the ancient wisdom of the forest. It's really connecting to the frequency of truth. All right, so I think I have a little more notes. Gotta finish my notes, and I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. If you do, give me a like if you'd like to. If not, that's okay too. So the self, like right when you think you know yourself, everything kind of shatters, right? And it's like it's the mirror. Who you thought you were was actually represents a reflection of who you thought you were, right? It's almost like all of the different parts of your life almost forms who you are, but when you take all that away, it really gives you a deeper understanding. And it's almost like everything in life will start to kind of make sense. You can kind of, everything connects together. You can put all the pieces together. Because truth isn't something that is just, that's how it is, right? When there's truth always connects It always connects back. And it overrides the shadow self that we're told to be. It's really like bringing color. Bringing color back, restoring yourself. Living in vivid color. Yeah, coming out of the cave, coming out. It's almost like seeing everything from thinking that you see the world, but yet it's like this dull color, right? And when you realize how life has held you back, and you see all the potential and how powerful you truly are, it's like all these vivid colors. It's like you're not living in black and white anymore. The shadow is in the background, because the shadow is always stuck to us, but it follows behind. It doesn't take the lead. It only does when it's allowed to. The shadow can tend to be the ego also. And we can tend to almost hide the things about ourselves that we think is different, because we think it's unique, so others don't feel like we fit in. But I think that all goes away. It all goes away. And it's usually through some kind of a spiritual journey, something that really throws you off, where you have no choice but to let life take you somewhere else, even if you don't want to. The universe has its ways. And if you don't see, I feel like if you don't see it, that'll come in after. When you become awakened, it tends to be a little bit daunting, right? But once you're able to see the truth, you're able to change the outside world, right? Because you know you have the tools. You know how to alchemize the energy, turning any pain into knowledge, right? Like, sometimes we it's almost like the shadow can be unwelcomed, right? It can be the things that we reject. Oh, the self. So the soul, the witness, the watcher. Accepting new aspects of self. Exactly. So the self is the prism that allows the spectrum of our personalities to radiate. It does not judge, prohibit, suppress, or oppress any of its parts, as it lovingly knows that all aspects have a time and a place, and leads us to experience the fullness of life and what it has to offer. The self is the central abiding container, the awareness of the infinite universe of possibilities. So this card is symbolizing, it's a call to step back into witness consciousness, to observe yourself navigating the world, right? And getting out of, you see, that's like the wolves, they have two heads. Leaving the pack, it's to really discover things about yourself you didn't know. It's an awareness of all possibilities. So it's almost like when you put yourself in those situations and you have that fear, it's like you start to realize that fear was just holding you back. It was a veil of deception. And this is your path. And I feel like, and you're on that quest, you're still questioning, well, what am I supposed to see? And it's like, it's illuminated, but there are a series of challenges or a series of things to really get to that point. And that's what all comes together. In most situations, our ego draws us into the cauldron where we swirl, spin, and smolder in chaos. But where you see your perception, the self is a graceful dancer watching, waiting, observing as the spectrum of ingredients become the flavor of life. And yeah, it's like entering Alice in Wonderland. Not taking life so seriously. It's like not letting your ego draw your life's plan. Sometimes when you are in that chaos, swirling, spinning, and it's almost like you almost learn how to dance in the storm. If you didn't go through those storms, you wouldn't master it. So that's like you're turning a situation that may have been scary, going off on this journey, not knowing what to expect, and discovering the best parts of life are off the trail. So observing as the spectrum of ingredients become the flavor of your life. Look in the mirror for 30 seconds or more. Attempt to see the world behind you. And right, the unseen. Not seeing things through a reflection. Like seeing things through a mirror is almost backwards, right? Things would be backwards. Accepting new aspects of yourself. Yeah. And seeing yourself from the eyes of others, from their view. Not picking yourself apart, but putting yourself together. You almost become unbothered by the things that bothered you before, the things that scared you. Not always having to go back into that cave, right? When something scares you. Letting new experiences in. Is hiding from life in the unseen will only allow somebody else to rule your life. And not letting your truth will deny the best experiences, and the best parts of life are who you are, because you are rare. You are that gift, that pearl. Unique, not like anybody else. So don't run scared into the cave because you don't recognize who you are. You're just rediscovering who you are. Removing the layers of misconceptions. And discovering the beauty and the blessings. And the best things in life are free. All right. I think I have a little bit more to read, and then that will be it. All right, so the best treasures are found in places where you never expected. Exactly. Going through a door you never would have gone through. Maybe you always thought it was locked. You assumed. So, example, a wrong turn, different direction. The challenge is to see past the inconvenience and not just to go back into the cave like, oh, well, this isn't what I wanted to see. I'm going to go back to the cave. Life isn't going to cater to you not wanting to be inconvenienced. So see past the inconvenience and frustration and ask what treasures you may be missing, right? It is not necessarily in your sight. It's almost like something that you discover on your own, aspects of why we're here. And the more you allow things to be possible, It's like you're speaking to the universe, believing before you see. That allows you to accept what the universe wants you to see and what you've always had. It always has rung true. But if you don't believe in something, you don't believe in magic, it's probably because you haven't seen the magic, right? The only people that truly look for it and believe in it, believe in more than what is seen with the physical eye. So there's way more to life than what we can see. So what you may be missing by keeping your mind limited, if you never look for yourself, detours are blessings. Detours, and I feel like that two minds, like which way to go. Detours are blessings. Detours are blessings to discover about yourself, to learn tools and skills. The blessings in disguise. Fear is the biggest lie we tell ourselves to reject what the truth will bring. And you'll never know until you step out of that reality. It always feels scary at first because it may be noisy, it may be bright, it may be not what you're used to. But when the lie fades and truth comes, rings through life, it's like your mind doesn't play those games anymore. Because we can convince ourselves and we can convince ourselves to believe a lie. The perception changes. It's like everything changes. The way you see things changes. Never thinking about something. I never thought about that way before. It doesn't keep you in a limited mindset. It allows you to grow. We keep growing. All right. So feelings of losing control, exposed, embarrassed, mocked, or shamed. This is all natural. Okay? It's facing other people's things that they're denying. So don't let that weigh you down because they're still like not even in the same they're not even in the same awakening as you. Don't let you throw that off your game. Because your truth, the only person that can discover your truth is you. And the only person that can hold you back is also you. So don't be stuck thinking that the world is what it seems. Because you're living in a world where everything, you have to question everything if it's real. So the only way to discover things and to learn about life, to teach yourself, is to get out of the cave and experience and allow life to show you. Life is the biggest teacher and you are the student. Allow life to teach you. Allow the world to show you. It's not a big and scary place. That there's signs and synchronicities all around you. You just have to be open to hear them. All right, until next time, bye.